Hello, and welcome to one of my creative stories that I written in 2007. It's called Coins of Destiny. Michael is on holiday with his family. The year is 1987, and we are staying in a caravan in Ingermells. The weather seemed so fine and perfect that it just seemed too good to be true. The week before we was going to go on holiday, Michael's stomach churned and made him feel sick with excitement. Anyway, Michael is in a penny arcade with £1 worth of 2p sagging down in his little pockets. And also he has 3 10p in his hand. He has been holding the coins in the palm of his hand for 30 minutes now, and they must be getting hot and sweaty while he stands next to the Pac-Land arcade game machine. The older lads are playing on it all the time. He does not seem to be able to get to play Pac-Land or ever find it vacant at all. He used to go and watch people on the Star Wars arcade game, but changed his interest when the music from Pac-Land attracted his attention. As he stood there, he looked towards the Afterburner arcade game, the one with the moving seats. And then he noticed the man wearing really cool clothes standing by the machine looking towards him. The man looked like he was from some sci-fi convention or something. Then he holds up 2 shiny coins, and then with his hands he makes a suggestion that Michael comes and joins him. So Michael then went over to the strange man to see what he wants. He says to Michael, "Hey kid, you look bored and fed up." Michael said, "I want to have an action-packed day of fun, but don't seem to be able to do it with just these 10p's and a bag of 2s. Michael asks, "What is your name?" "I'm sorry, I can't tell you that, but I can do you a great deal. I will give you these 2 single coins for your bag of 2p's. Michael's eyes opened wider and then squinted because of the light reflecting off the coins. "Oh, these are not just any coins. They are everlasting time travel coins. What I mean is when you place them into a machine like Afterburner, the coin's nanoatomic particle generator causes a controlled power surge. Then the person on the seat of the machine will vibrate into atomic particles, then reassemble them in the coordinates that the coin is programmed. These coins I will trade you for your 2p's. And I have to tell you one thing. These coins only move in 10-year cycles. We did experiment with 1-year and 2-year coins, but that made jumping more dangerous because the amount of jumps it can take to get back to your time again. Too many jumps in 1 hour can really affect us and give us radiation sickness if used that often. So it's recommended that you never jump more than 4 times in an hour. The coins automatically seek out gaps where people aren't looking at the machine, so you can arrive comfortably without making a scene." Michael takes the heavy bag of 2s out of his pockets and hands over to the man, and then 2 coins are placed in Michael's hands. He's excited now The man then gets onto the game afterburner and then places one of his coins in. Michael is overwhelmed with excitement when he sees the man fizzle out, and there he was no more. As Michael stands there looking at the shiny coins, he is then distracted. His brother David, who is walking towards him, his brother asks him, "Are you going on afterburner?" Michael says, "Yes, I'm going on afterburner." Michael looks at David's face as he says, "Watch this." Michael gets the coin that takes him to 10 years in the future and puts it in the machine and hits the start button. As Michael sits there, his point of view of looking at his brother fizzle away into nothing, a warm feeling of intense vibrations in his seat. Then after he reaches his destination, he's so thrilled by the special effects around him that he finds it so much fun that he takes the coin out of the coin reject and drops it in for another go. He then fizzles away once again, but this time he enters an arcade in the year 2007. He finds himself in a dusty storage room, sitting on a dusty seat. The machine wasn't even turned on or plugged in. The air is choky, and this makes Michael cough, and then he gets up and then walks up to a wooden door. There was a catch on the back of the door, which Michael turned and pulled the door towards him. And on the other side was a combination lock mechanism that's used to go into the room. And just as he's coming out of the room, he notices a nice arcade floor with arcade machines with flashing lights, and just as the door was closing, he catched it with his foot and realised he needs to put the snake on the lock so that he can get back in again, to get back, of course. As Michael walked onto what you call the shop floor, he totally blown away by immense graphics on these games. It's like seeing something before the mind is ready to know it. He notices that the games have more controls and look a lot more frighteningly real compared to what he was used to. Michael is drawn to the retro lounge, where he sees Pac-Land all by itself and ready to play. He could almost imagine a heavenly light beaming down from the heavenly clouds like sword in the stone. In his excitement, he takes out his 3 10-pence coins out of his pocket and walks happily towards Pac-Land, and smiling with so much overwhelming joy, he then takes his 10p to put it into the machine to get to play the game he's been wanting to play forever, and suddenly his 10p won't fit. He's not fitting. He thinks to himself, why is it not working? He walks over to Penny Falls and looks through the glass at the 10 pences. They look the same, but they are smaller. His attention was drawn to a lady on a some sort of motorized vehicle that she can drive around in a building. She rushes towards the change booth, and as she did so, she drops a £10 note out of her fingers. This caused a breeze she created from speeding. Then, as she backs up to collect her note, she hits a 10p penny fold machine with her back bumper, and Michael saw a shiny small 10p fall into the metal pocket. He now smiles as he is one step closer to getting to play Pac-Land, and as he has now got the correct size 10p, he walks towards the retro lounge and notices a 30p slot was short of a 10p for a whole credit. He thought to himself that he could do with more than one 10p for Pac-Land in case he needs to continue. So he drops his 10p into an Elvis slot machine and hoped. Then he hit autoplay and got 3 green single bars that won him £3 instantly. He could have gambled more, but he knows he has got what he needs to play Pac-Land, and that's all that mattered. Michael then goes to the change booth and asks to change the £3 into 10 pences. The woman behind the coin dispenser said, "You look very retro, young boy," as she presses the coin dispenser lever 3 times. And Michael looked at her and gave a confused fake smile as he scooped the 10p's from the pocket. Because he didn't know what retro means. His gaze then was turned towards the heavenly light that projected in his mental mind over the Pac-Land. But this time he's ready. He's really ready because he is ready to pay and play. Then he pulls up a stool to sit on and relaxes a moment, and then says to himself, "Here goes." He lines up his 10 pences and gets started straight away. The screen starts with the words Act 1. Michael plays to his heart's desire, and soon he reaches as far as the game could go, and he only used 3 credits. He had picked up his skills from watching older boys play and taking in what he saw, and was very talented of seeing and doing, which gave him quite an ability in his little life. As he walks onto the shop floor, he thinks about going back to 1987, but before he does that, he thought he should try his luck on the 10 pence penny falls. So he digs in his hands in the saggy pocket of change and takes out 6 10 pences, and he drops 1 in, then 2, then another, and then nothing fell. Well, they did, but they fell down the side pockets and not my pockets. When he dropped in the 6th coin and watched it bounce on the pins, he noticed it was his coin that was for taking him back to his time. Oh my gosh. But the coin landed in a feature coin slot, and the colour TV behind the penny fold showed like a puzzle game, and that was going crazy, maybe because of the electricity in the coin. When the coin reached the moving platforms, it tries to repel itself away from normal coins, and in doing so, it pushes almost the entire coin contents into the metal pocket, along with itself hidden among the hundreds of 10 pences. This attracted the woman in the change booth, whose head was drawn to the penny forge machine after hearing all that noise. The woman then makes her way out of the coin booth and makes her way to the penny forge machine. She's thinking that the penny forge machine has been fiddled with or something. She says, "Stop that right now." But Michael is focused on finding his coin. Then he finds his coin laying flat at the bottom of the huge pile. He grabs the coin and he says, "Yes! I found it!" The woman lifted a radio to her head and she called out for security to attend to her on the floor. She says, "Stay there, young man," as she bends down to start picking up the coins. He sees the opportunity and races to the door of the storeroom. He then closes the door behind him and rushes over to the afterburner machine and notices it's not plugged in. But strangely, he had a feeling that there might have been enough power in the coin to take him back to the time where he came from. The staff have just come into the room and the security are just about to grab Michael by the arm when he just drops in the backward coin and hits start. He fizzles away right before their eyes. When Michael reaches 1997, he collects the coin and pushes it in again and goes back to 1987, and then he fizzles back into the view of his brother David, who is still looking at Michael. Michael gets off the game and David says, "Are you not playing the machine?" Michael just says, "I'm fine, thank you. Here, here's some change so you can play on it as well." David is astonished that Michael would hand over some 10 pences so that he can play on the afterburner machine too. David then pops the coin into afterburner, but strangely, because the coin was too small, it kind of fell through and didn't actually give him a credit. But what was in the coin reject was the coin that Michael had left behind, forgetting that it was there. His brother mistaken it as just a 10p that was rejected and picked it up and dropped it into the machine of the afterburner. But when Michael turns to look, it's already too late. His brother David has fizzled away right before his eyes. But Michael thinks to himself, that coin is a backwards coin. That goes back in time, not forward. Michael noticed there was some engineer working on a machine just down a few yards to the left. Michael decided to ask him, when was Afterburner installed? He said it was installed this morning. So he had to think about what the guy said about the coin seeks out a safe location in time to allow a person to arrive safely. So I am sure he has got to be here somewhere. This day has got to be the day. Then a rubber orange sucker dart sucks itself to Michael's forehead. David has been shopping by the looks of it. Michael says, "Hey David, Where did you get all that money? Well, he said, when I realised I was a few hours back in time, I remember a machine that paid out lots of money to somebody else. So I decided to go on it before him. And now I have £10 left, and I have been having to wait till my other self has gone before I can see you again. So I just went on the rides on the fair. As David and Michael walk back to the caravan park, Michael says, it took me 20 years just to go on Patland. The end. Hello, and thank you for listening to me read one of my short stories that I've written to inspire the creativity in the people around me. The events of the holiday in Ingemells were actually real events that happened, but using the memories of my imagination of how things was then, I just do a spin-off out of my imagination as I was really waiting to play Pac-Land. So basically I'm just writing as if I am the person in the story. Thanks for listening, and look forward to reading to you again in the very near future. Thank you.